save you from your own mind.
Everything shines from the frequency of you.
Hi, it's Lauren. Welcome to another lyric analysis. Today we start the pink section, and I think of the pink section as kind of like sweeter childhood associations, a little bit lighter than the black and white sections that we were just in, but as in all my songs, still very, very depressing. So, this song is called The Frequency of You, and let's just get started with the first line. I've always felt different. The world's ideals seemed wrong to me. This line speaks to kind of this childhood intuition I feel that I had about things that weren't right. I remember, I think I was really young and I had this dress on to go to church, and I'm hanging on to the wheel of the tire like, no, don't make me go, don't make me go. The reaction was so intense that my mom thought I had suffered some kind of like abuse or like, so she stayed with me, and then she, didn't see anything. And I don't remember anything. It was just, I hated sitting in there so much. And school was the same thing. I remember being 12 and, it was an art school. The teacher was making jokes, no tests, nothing stressful. I just hated sitting there that much in the desk. I felt trapped. I felt restrained. Looking back on it now, I think it's just my intuition. I can sense things that aren't right below the surface, but since no one agreed with me, I just like suppressed it and pushed it down and be like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just tough it out? So I'm different. These things that people think are normal don't feel normal to me. I can feel something's off. And then the world's ideals seemed wrong to me. Now, what ideals am I talking about? I think the book that I'm listening to, Little Girls in Pretty Boxes, really encapsulates, the ideals of the world that are absolutely wrong. First of all, the superiority complex of winning and being financially successful is how you define your worth, which I bought into that for, most of my life just because it's all I saw, but it's wrong. And, this idea of winning and then you're worthy, and then also this idea of we can't both win. There's a winner and a loser. I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, if you're trying to build a building, there's an architect and then there's an engineer. Is the architect the winner or the engineer the winner? Oh, I don't know. There is no winner and loser. They're working together, and our society could be like that and it's not. And I never understood why it wasn't like that. So I suppressed that part of myself that saw things wrong with the world because I was young and invalidated that I just needed to just push through these bad feelings. Next line. But I'm 6 years old, what can I do? Right? If you don't agree with the school system or church or society's values, like, what are you supposed to do when you're 6? I couldn't really speak up for myself. I didn't have the words, but I could just feel something was off, but yet had to go there every day and couldn't do anything about it. This is something we talked about with my therapist of if a child has a choice between attachment and authenticity, they will choose attachment because it's a survival mechanism. And so I chose that. I did what I was told to try to be a good person for attachment and survival, which I beat myself up about, but that's what kids do. So I shouldn't. If I'm myself, they will reject me. Yeah. The school system is all about control. The church system is all about control. It's not, these systems aren't meant to create smart, free-thinking members of society. They're made to make people easier to control, and I feel like from day one, I could sense that. But I suppressed it because it's like, I had to get through the day, and then everyone also told me it wasn't real. I was the best at everything just to feel like somebody. And that goes definitely with the book, The Little Girls in Pretty Boxes of, you're nothing if you're not the best. But I never learned how to trust myself. So I never learned how to trust my feelings, I would say. Right? Just suck it up, be tough. So I tried to do that, but it led me to completely like ignoring and invalidating all of my own emotions. So I never learned how to trust that intersection of logic and emotions to make the best decisions for myself, nor who I was or what my values were. I never allowed myself to be me. Because me, my true self, was who I wasn't allowed to be. Yeah, that rhymed. I was a little nauseated too when I heard that rhyme. But if you want to prepare someone to make the world a better place, our school system is the absolute worst way to do it. If you want to train someone to be loving, the church is the worst place to do that. Because the church is literally like, do what we say or go to hell. That's the least loving thing that has ever existed. The money you crave won't fix yourself. I always thought that once I made enough money and was independent, then I had the right to have my emotions and needs heard and valued and respected. But up till then, I had to just suppress it. So I'm realizing that these external things like money don't change your mindset, which is, I think, why so many celebrities end up in such dire circumstances, because they reach that pinnacle of material success, but the mental constructs that led them to sacrifice everything to get there didn't change once they got there. Very similar thing with people who win Olympic medals. They're like, oh, now what? My problems aren't fixed, but I've reached the pinnacle of success. The fame won't save you from destroying yourself. And that's what's wrong with our society is we tell people if they work hard enough and make enough money that they'll be happy. So the people who make it realize this and, unravel, and the people who don't make it think they're unhappy because they haven't made it. A lose-lose situation. And I think even from my earliest years, I saw that it was that. Chorus. You're not what you do or what you can prove. So, you're not what you do. I had this come up the other day. I went to this ice skating party and there was this lady in her 60s. She was like an ex-gymnast. We were doing handstands and stuff together. And she was just like, oh, were you in school? Like everyone asks. And I'm like, no. And then she's like, oh, what do you do? And I just fell silent. I'm sick of lying about my life and putting on a good face and pretending. But I also don't want to open myself up to someone I don't know who might judge me and damage me. So I just fell silent. Like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I've been in psych wards on and off for the last 3 years. I'm unemployed. I'm on disability. I've tried to do a lot of things and failed. Like, what do I say? And so I just fell silent, ignored it. And 15 minutes later, I just told her, I'm like, okay, I do YouTube. I was just afraid of being judged. And she's like, oh, it's cool. My kids have done all kinds of things. Which is fine. I'm still controlled by other people's judgments so much. It creates a lot of fear. I need to be okay with having that judgmental tone and not have it reflect on what I think of myself. So you're not what you do or what you can prove, which is very similar. It's very I'm nothing if I'm not an Olympic gymnast. I'm nothing if I don't make partner. I'm nothing if I don't have the big house. It goes on and on and on. And so with that mindset, you're nothing until you can prove you're worthy. And then even if you do prove you're worthy, it doesn't last and you have to prove it again. It's not a sustainable identity. And it's kind of a really unfair, cruel way to live because your entire self-worth hinges on things that are somewhat largely out of your control. Okay, so there are no lights outside. Everything shines from the frequency of you. Our whole society has it backwards. We look for these external things to fix us and make us happy when we really need to look inside. An example I think of is Joe Dispenza with the Brain and Heart Coherence. When they are aligned, this person feels this euphoria inside of them, but it's not coming from anything external. They're just sitting there and feeling that. And so that's even some scientific proof of this concept that people have said, spiritual people have said, but has definitely not been fully integrated into our society yet. I couldn't stand the life I lived. I'd do anything to escape. That feeling of being trapped, the feeling of desperation, I'd do anything. But I didn't feel like I was allowed to escape. And the next line is, but I never felt I was allowed or that I deserved to be happy. I thought of happiness is something that you earn when you reach a certain level of material success. Once you reach that level, your wants and needs and emotions matter. But until then, you just have to put your head down and work and suffer. And then once you get there, you matter. The problem with that is if you do that for a lifetime, you're so unhappy that you can't get anywhere. And so it's this feeling of being trapped and so desperate to escape, but there's nowhere to go. All right, and second part of the second verse. I have the freedom I want now, but it came at a high price. So I finally have the insight about this problem in myself and with the world. But the cost has been high. It's led to a lifetime of severe mental illnesses. It's led to chronic suicidal ideation. It's led to incredible amounts of pain, and that's the cost of the awareness. I feel the gravity of a black hole pulling me down from the light. This feeling of I can see the light, yet I'm being pulled further and further away from it. And being more and more aware of the light, yet farther and farther from being able to reach it. The love that you crave from someone else, whether it's parents, a lover, people lack love and try to get it from someone else. No one can save you from destroying yourself. No one can save you from your own mind, which can be absolutely horrifying. But the flip side of that is that no one can destroy you unless you let them into your mind. So there are no lights outside. Everything shines from the frequency of you. And the frequency of you also refers to the law of attraction. If you feel loving towards yourself, you attract loving experiences. If you feel disgusted with yourself, you attract these disgusting experiences, and so on and so forth. So we have to fix our lives from the inside out instead of the outside in. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.
You're not what you do.